Okay, I can't believe this might be one of my last Nintendo Switch videos. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for the Switch 2. It's definitely time for new hardware, but we've had the Switch for so long and it's been such a great run. One of the things that made the Nintendo Switch so amazing, at least from my perspective, is the fact that it had such great third-party support and accessories, and we might have saved the best for last, because today we are reviewing the Mobapad M6 wireless controllers, and I was extremely excited when Mobapad reached out and asked if I wanted to review these guys, because so many of you in the comments have been telling me that these are by far the best Nintendo Switch controller, and at this point in the Switch's life cycle, I tried out tons of third-party controllers. So I'll be the judge of these bad boys. Again, shout out to Mobapad for sending these over for review, and let's find out if these really are the best Joy-Cons. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's your boy Squiz, also known as the Elusive Squirrel, and again, I'm super excited to dive into the Mobapad. And right out of the box, the Mobapad M6 has a great ergonomic design, which I think a lot of people overlook. The original Joy-Cons were just flat on the back, and there's tons of controllers that are also like that, and those are just such a pain to hold in handheld mode, especially if you're like upside down laying in bed. It causes such massive hand cramps and is really uncomfortable if you have bigger hands. Honestly, you don't even need bigger hands to experience that. The original Joy-Cons just aren't that ergonomic, so I actually really appreciate the shape of the Mobapad. In first impressions, the size and weight of the controllers themselves are pretty great too, and it makes the console a pretty good size in handheld mode. Here's my Nintendo Switch OLED next to my Steam Deck, and you can see it makes the console a lot bigger, but not too big. It kind of hits in that happy medium perfect size, again, at least in my opinion, and I think you can definitely hold these comfortably no matter where you're playing, again, whether it's like laying down or sitting up. I don't think you're gonna get those awful hand cramps with these. Please tell me I'm not the only one that experienced that with the original Joy-Con. So the overall shape and design is getting an A+ for me. The first feature I want to cover right out of the box is the fact that these do have Hall effect joysticks. This has kind of become a staple of what makes a good third-party controller, because we all know the original Joy-Cons have horrible stick drift problems. I mean, that's like the one major asterisk about the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure there's tons of complaints about the system, but the one mainstream argument that everybody had a problem with was the Joy-Con analog sticks. So if you want a good third-party controller, at this point you almost have to make it a Hall effect joystick. And Mobapad did just that. So again, Hall effect joysticks, you don't have to worry about stick drift. I also want to point out the analogs themselves, they kind of have a texture design around the edges, and then they're concave and smooth in the middle. It almost reminds me of like a PS5 controller. Again, I think it's a great design, a great grip, and I think it looks a lot better and more professional than the original Joy-Con grip. And here's the thing that caught my eye about the Mobapad the first time I looked at it. We get a satellite D-pad with this controller. I don't even know if that's the official name or term for it, but it's like the D-pad that's on the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. It's a very unique design. It looks like a satellite to me. That's why I call it that. And I honestly love this D-pad, so I was hyped about this. But here's the good news. If you're not a fan of the satellite D-pad, you can actually swap it out for an original standard style of D-pad. And this is a win too, because another complaint about the original Joy-Con was the D-pad are, you know, 4 buttons. It's not the actual like plus. So if you're playing any retro games or fighting games, the original D-pad on this will work just great for you. But again, for me, I'm sticking with the satellite D-pad. I think this is the only Switch controller that has it. Leave a comment down below if I'm wrong on that. As we're talking about swappable elements of the controller, you can actually swap out the faceplates as well. Now, of course, this makes it easier to get new colorways because you can just swap out the faceplate, but you actually get an additional pair of faceplates in the box with the controller, and I was a huge fan of this because even though the colorway is the same, check out the difference in the analog area of both of these faceplates. If you want a smooth analog experience, you can use the faceplate that just has the regular old circle, but if you like a little bit of feedback when you're moving your analog stick around, almost like the GameCube, then you have to check out this other faceplate. I'm a huge GameCube fan, so maybe that's why I'm a fan of this faceplate, but I just love having a little feedback when you use the analog stick. It feels very Nintendo. And I love the fact that it's not just a cosmetic thing with the faceplate, you're actually getting a little bit of versatility with the actual analog sticks there as well. But here's my hands down favorite feature of this controller. It has mechanical buttons and triggers. If you're not sure what I mean by mechanical buttons, it just means every time you click a button or one of your triggers, it's gonna feel like a mouse click. And yes, that gives you an extremely satisfying sound. I'll let you listen to that here. But again, it also gives you a good feedback with each button press. Between getting a clicky ASMR session while gaming and feeling like I was getting awesome feedback, I had a great time gaming on these. They nailed the mechanical buttons on these, and honestly, let me just take a second to say the shapes of the triggers felt phenomenal too. Now, I noticed the shoulder button and triggers are really sensitive, like it's really easy to click them in. I don't play any like FPS games on the Switch, so that didn't bother me at all, and some FPS fans might actually like that it's really sensitive. Because again, it's really quick, easy, and responsive to get a reaction from those those shoulder buttons. And again, it feels like you're playing on a mouse, which is awesome. I just think they nailed the shape and design of the shoulder buttons themselves. Now, in between filming this, when I actually took time to game with the Mobapad controllers, I just played with them in handheld mode. I mean, I think that's why you would buy the Mobapad, right? Is because you play this thing in handheld mode and you want a superior handheld experience, which these definitely provide. But you can also use these wirelessly off the console themselves. Now, here's my one ding against Mobapad is I wish they included a grip, but I'll also note most third-party controllers don't include a grip anymore. So again, they're kind of meeting the standard. I wish they included a grip because I think playing these in docked mode would be wonderful. And again, you can do that. You just don't have a grip. And the great thing is, if you do play with these wirelessly in docked mode, is they have a 15-hour battery life. Now, obviously, it's just like any Joy-Con. It has the little rail you can slide right in. So some of you might already have a grip that works at home, but I would love if Mobapad would include one in the future because these controllers are phenomenal. I'm telling you, the feel of them, the style of them, everything about them, I loved my experience playing in handheld mode with them, and I would love to continue that over to docked mode. A couple other really important and usually overlooked features I want to mention about the Mobapad. These controllers do support NFC, and a lot of third-party controllers don't, so I see this as a huge positive. Again, if you don't know what NFC support means, that just means you can use your Amiibos or Skylanders, if that's even a thing still. Amiibos. You can use your Amiibos with the Mobapad. Another great feature that's often overlooked is they do have 6-axis control, which just means motion controls. Again, a lot of third-party controllers don't include that for the same price, so this is great. And the last feature I want to talk about with these is the HD vibration, which feels an awful lot like Nintendo's official HD rumble. The Mobapad has a great rumble or vibration effect to it. During my time gaming with the Mobapad, I felt like the feedback, not only from like the physical buttons and whatnot, like we already covered, but the feedback from the vibration itself was wonderful. A lot of times when I use third-party controllers, I can't lie to you, the vibration feels a little jank. Not with these bad boys. Mobapad nailed the vibration feedback on this. And I know that's not a huge make or break for most people, but it is, again, is a fine detail that I really personally appreciate. Now that we've gone over the features and a little bit about my experience with those features, I want to give you a quick summary of my thoughts just out in the open rant style. The Mobapad is definitely one of the best controllers out there. Gaming's subjective, so am I gonna say it's the absolute best? No, but I'm gonna say it's top 3 in no specific order. These controllers are wonderful. They cost the same price as the original Joy-Con, so it's a no-brainer. I thought the analog sticks felt amazing. The fact that you don't have to worry about stick drift was awesome. It all comes back to comfort for me. These things were very, very comfortable. And there's some third-party controllers that come close, but this thing is just kind of in a league of its own, in my opinion. If you play the Nintendo Switch mostly in handheld mode, I feel like you have to try these guys out. I know we're getting really close to the Switch 2 launch, so this is where I leave a note for Mobapad just saying, please, please, please make a Switch 2 version of this, because this just made my handheld experience with the Nintendo console so much better, and it's gonna be hard to go back to regular Joy-Cons on the Switch 2 for a little bit. So in conclusion, I would absolutely recommend the Mobapad M6 wireless controllers, and I think every Switch owner should check these out. I just want to take a moment again to shout out Mobapad for sending these over for review, and let me know down below, what do you think the best Nintendo Switch controller is? If you made it all the way through the video, I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.